Hey, we are here. Success. Welcome to a women's hormones class, ladies hormones class. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I'm really grateful for those of you checking out the replay. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to talk tonight about the journey of women's hormones and all the magic that is involved in that. And we're going to try to condense a lot of information into 30 minutes. So bear with me. I talk pretty fast sometimes. But feel free to jot down any questions and go ahead and message me afterwards or join us. If you are live right now, you can join us at the end for a live Q&A after the recording of this class, okay? So here we go. My journey with hormones has been one that has created a tremendous passion when it comes to teaching this stuff. I absolutely love teaching these classes now because I get to share my story of how much my whole life has changed. I remember being a young kid and feeling completely just devastated one time over a breakup. I call it a kid, but I was actually like, I don't know, in my early 20s. But so I was really sad over a breakup. And I remember crying and grieving over this loss, feeling like, man, if there's any way that this relationship, that the pain that I'm going through can be redeemed and be used for somebody else's benefit, and that my heartache and pain is not wasted, I will be so much happier. And I realized that that has actually really kind of been like the motto of my life. I've been through so many trials and so many heartaches and pains and medical journeys too, that everything I've been through, I always want to be that kind of person that if my experience and my journey can help others, then I feel like I'm winning. And so I'm here teaching this class and trying to share the knowledge that I've learned over the years, because I want more than anything else to empower other women to either overcome their own personal journeys or help others along the way as well. For me, I was diagnosed with endometriosis when I was 18 years old. I have had horrible cramping since I was 16, like pretty much I got my period, I think around like 14, 15 years old. I had horrible cramping almost right out of the gate, and I had endometriosis. I was in a lot of pain. It was to the point that when I was 19 years old, my doctor, I could just call her and say, I need more Percocets and I need more Flexeril, because I needed the muscle relaxers and I needed the painkillers, and it was an easy prescription for her to just send in and refill. I didn't even have to see her. It was just, here's the drugs. Probably why we have a lot of issues with overdosing of drugs was that era. That was back in the 90s. So anyhow, I went through all of that, but that was the level of pain that I was in when it came to my cycle. When I was 20 years old, I had a surgery done. It was called a laparoscopy. They went in through my belly button, and I had stage 2, almost stage 3 endometriosis. The lesions had actually adhered to the outside of my uterus, creating a pocket. My doctor was very concerned about my ability to even have children one day, and she told me the only cure for endometriosis is pregnancy. And so it was a very trying, scary time of my life, because I knew I was nowhere in a place to get married or anything like that. So let's flash forward a little bit through some of that part of my life. In my 20s, late 20s, I actually contracted C. differential, which is a immune system. It's like a virus. It's kind of like up there with MRSA and those kind of big hitters, things that usually tend to be more predominant in elderly people as well. But my constant years of antibiotic exposure had put me in a place where C. differential happened at age 26. That kind of took me on a journey of natural health, because I realized that a lot of people I talked to were telling me that if you don't take probiotics and get your gut health back, you're going to just continue to get these kind of issues. And even my doctors were saying things like probiotics. And this was in 2006. Excuse me. So anyhow, I started going down the natural path and started learning more about essential oils. I shortly got married after that. And when I got married, I didn't want to be on the 18 different thousand types of birth control pills that I was on, because they were constantly wrecking my hormones. When I was young, in my teens, and I'd first gotten my period, I was sabotaging relationships whenever I PMSed. I was a nightmare every time I got my period. I would bleed for about 7 days straight, and it was like a lot of bleeding, and every once in a while I'd stop, and then it would just like come back with a vengeance. So it was at least 7 days of heavy bleeding. My cycles were very abnormal. I was anywhere from 30 to 36 days. So somewhere in that range was my average cycle. There was really no rhyme or reason why it was the way it was. So in 2007, my girlfriend got me this book called Taking Charge of Your Fertility. Amazing book. It's a big one, okay? But it's a really, really great book. But it taught me a lot about the female body. It taught me a lot about the different movements and things that happen within the body, the type of cervical fluid we produce. And it taught me a lot about the cycle and everything that's happening in our body. And it taught me how to chart my cycle. And I actually have in my nightstand like a whole stack of my cycles from day one of doing this book, of taking my temperature every single morning, checking my cervical fluid, checking the position of my cervix, and how open it was, how I was feeling emotionally. And all those things got put into this chart to kind of help me understand where my cycle was. So I knew how long I was bleeding for. So I knew when I was ovulating based off of my cervical fluid and my body temperature and position of cervix and the opening. And I could usually tell roughly when my period was going to happen, mostly because I was psychotic right beforehand. It's just kind of true. So that was pretty much what my cycle was back then. And so we flash forward, I've gotten married, I have kids. I was able to understand my fertility and when I could get pregnant and everything like that using the book and knowing my body. We did lose our first child. And we successfully had our second, Esperanza, and then we had Toa, then we adopted Siobhan, and then we had Ariana. So I have 4 children now, and I have given birth to 4. Only 3 of them are alive. And so I have this history of this journey in life. The only season of life I haven't walked through is menopause, and I do have a little bit of time before that'll happen. But I have had a lot of feedback from my seasoned veterans on how these different things have helped them as well. So I have great information for everybody in every stage. And so my passion is to really help equip you guys and share this knowledge that I have on women's hormones and help you get a handle on this journey and how to do things naturally. Now that you guys know a little bit of my past history, where am I at today? Today, my cycle is 28 days, sometimes 29. I have 0 cramping and pain. I have, what else do I have going on here? 0 cramping and pain. I have no mood swings. When I remember to take my oils. I use my oils because I went on a missions trip and didn't take anything with me. And I was like, honey, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just feel so low. And he's like, well, I don't know. We were praying and trying to figure it out. And all of a sudden it hit me yesterday. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't used a single hormone oil. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, not a one. But here's the cool thing. Didn't use a single hormone oil. Got my period today. Had 0 cramping. That's kind of magical for missing, 2 weeks worth of hormone oils. And I had 0 cramping still. My cycle still landed within 1 day. I'm on day 29, so I'm only off by 1 day. I didn't sabotage relationships and I wasn't totally psychotic. I just was a lot lower than I normally am. And we'll talk about why that's significant when I talk to you about what oils do what things. And for the most part, everything's been pretty well. And so it's just really amazing when you see your cycle and how you can actually really help really restore your body and help get it back to where it should be and get those cells in your body functioning the way that they were designed to function when it comes to our hormones. So I've said a lot of stuff, and every time I talk, I'm talking in context of a diagram that I want to make sure that you guys can see, because I see it in my head as I'm talking, and that's not very helpful for you since you can't read my thoughts, right? So we're going to show you guys I'm going to show you guys on a chart, okay, what our cycles kind of look like here. And so I want to just give you a little bit of a diagram here. Can everybody see this okay? Yeah? That's good, right? Okay. All right. So what we have here is this is day 1. So this is when you first get your period. Okay. It's right here at day 1. This is about the middle where we ovulate. Okay. And then this right here is going to be the restart of our cycle. Okay. Right there is when everything starts all over again. Okay. So we're going to kind of split this up into seasons, like we have 4 seasons. And so we have winter, spring, summer. I think I didn't put two M's in there. And then we have fall. Okay. So winter, spring, summer, and fall. All right. Now, winter time is when you're going to get your period. Okay. And those are those hibernation days, right? And then when we come out of hibernation, right, after we've gotten our period, we move into spring. Now, springtime, that usually is whenever we kind of feel like, you know, doing some spring cleaning. We're a lot happier. We want to get more things done, and we're starting to get vision and ideas for projects and stuff, right? Summer, this is like the golden time. This is like when we're the most like happy. We're hanging out with everybody. People are having block parties. You know, we're going to the parties. We're hosting parties. We're all about being social. This is like actually, if you can actually get yourself charted, this is when you want to be in front of people. So if you have anything in your life that requires you to be, you know, on, that's the time of your month that you want to be planning those events, you know. Fall is when you're kind of winding down. You're wrapping things up. You're buttoning things up because winter's coming, okay? And this is when you tend to finish a lot of the projects that you started in springtime. So that kind of helps you understand your cycle as far as how it relates to how your emotions, mood, and feelings should be, okay? So this is our cycle, okay? Now, we've got two color Sharpies that we're going to break into our little diagram here. One is pink and one is purple. And there's a specific reason why they're pink and purple, and you will know here in a second. Purple, we're going to talk about, is going to be estrogen, okay? So estrogen is a really, really, you can kind of see it when I hold it up like that. So estrogen is really a very unique hormone, the way it comes in and the way it moves, okay? It basically is going to come in at winter time, and it will rise up right before we ovulate, okay? So there it is, it's come in, okay? So it just sort of comes right up, and it peaks when we ovulate, okay? Right before we ovulate. And then it's going to drop down, and then it has another little surge near the end, and then it's done, okay? So there it is, okay? So it came in, right before we ovulate, estrogen's at its highest, and then it's going to start coming down. It gives a little surge here, and then it's done, okay? So that is the movement of estrogen in our body during our cycle. So pink is going to be progesterone, okay? Progesterone. Progesterone is not so much around at all in wintertime, okay? So while we have our period, and then it kind of has like a little hump right before we ovulate, okay? And then it drops down, but then right when estrogen's coming down, progesterone takes off, okay? So there's progesterone right here. It comes in, gives us a little peak right before we ovulate, then it drops down, and then it's going to take off. It probably could actually be a little bit more up here, and then drops down, okay? But that is our progesterone line, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about these hormones and why they are important to move the way that they do. One of the coolest things that I was reading about when I just recently was kind of going over some more new material on the hormones, but one of the neatest things that I found was that estrogen will attach itself to the body, to the cells of the body. And then progesterone comes and attaches itself to the estrogen, okay? The reason why is that progesterone's kind of like, it's like you're in a fight, okay? And you're with your girlfriend, and your girlfriend's that spicy one that comes in and gets things started, but you're the one that always has to finish it. That's actually happened to me. I had a hot mess friend, love her, but we seriously were out dancing, and somebody else bumped into me, but she was just, you know, she's my slightly Irish friend, and she was just like, oh, no, you did it. And she started the fight, but I had to come along behind her and stop the fight and kind of like get into a fight to stop the fight. But that's actually what progesterone does, because estrogen kind of gets a little aggressive. And if you have a whole bunch of estrogen in your body and you have this estrogen dominance going on, it actually will start mutating and attacking the cells of your body, which can cause other issues, cellular issues we don't want having to most women, right? A lot of women are having a lot of different issues with their reproductive system in later years because estrogen dominance has come in, and estrogen started all these fights, and there wasn't any progesterone in there to stop the fights. Progesterone comes in and is like, whoa, 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 friend. Whoa, 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 friend. It's okay. Let's back off the cell. Let's calm down and let's settle things down for the body. And so progesterone is actually really, really important. It's not just there for the sake of helping hold a baby. It's not just there for that purpose. It is really there for really helping things calm down. Can everybody hear me okay? I've got a message saying that there's some hearing. Everybody else good? Maybe try checking your microphone and see if that helps. I'm going to double check you here. Everything's looking good on this end. I'm so sorry. Maybe just try backing out and popping back in and seeing that helps. But there are some control buttons down on the bottom here. Maybe move your mouse and they should show up down on the bottom. That should allow you to see if you can adjust the hearing, or check the menu up here. All right. So estrogen and progesterone are both very, very important. And it's really important that they're moving along very much on their correct path, okay? Because you will have that, a lot of times that'll happen where if you have an estrogen dominance, then you've got way more estrogen up here and no progesterone coming to bring that level down. They work together. They are friends, and they're really important that they're both in existence. And so what ends up happening in a lot of women's lives is we have things called hormone disruptors, okay? Everybody ever heard of a hormone disruptor before? Okay. So hormone disruption comes from, for those of you who haven't heard what hormone disruption are, there are two things that actually have the highest. There's a lot of things that can cause hormone disruption. Number one thing that causes hormone disruption is a thing called xenoestrogen, which is a fake estrogen, okay, or pseudoestrogen. That's another name for it, okay? So xenoestrogens are fake estrogens, and the top two places that you're going to find xenoestrogens in the world around us. Number one is going to be in, it's going to be in the plastics, okay? So if you have like, here we go, plastic bottle, okay? It doesn't say BPA free. That's going to tend to have those false estrogens. Other plastics, soft plastics, okay? Saran wrap, that's another really great example. Don't stick that stuff in the microwave. Put a paper towel on it, you know? So there's, put glass in the microwave instead of Tupperware. Like in my house, like if you put Tupperware or plasticware in the microwave, you might die. I seriously, like, I think someone thought I was going to kill them because I was like, no! But it's true, like, was that you? I'm so sorry, Charlie. So we don't stick plastic in the microwave in my house, like ever. It's glass, not metal, nothing else, just stick the glass in there. Or porcelain, I mean a plate, you know. But a lot of us don't know this stuff, right? I didn't know this. If 20 years ago, I was sticking all the time. When I was in college, I was taking all my lunches. I was so proud of myself. I made Chinese food once a week. I boxed it into my little, you know, Gladware containers. I took them to school, popped the lid, stuck it in the microwave at school, and I ate it every single day. I did not know that plastic would do those kind of things. And especially when you heat it up, it causes a chemical reaction and that stuff can leach into your food. But it's true, okay? So soft plastics can be dangerous, and how we use soft plastics. Now look, I still use Gladware. It's still in my refrigerator, but it's in my refrigerator. I don't heat that stuff up, you know, and we're very, very cautious on how we use all of our stuff. We have glass containers. We bought a whole bunch of those glass containers with those snap top lids for my husband for work. And that's what he puts all of his food for his lunches for work. So there are so many ways that we can get around the plastic situation like this. Even Starbucks came out with glass cups, you know? So that's wonderful. I love that because I can stick my essential oils in it, and then I've got a stainless steel straw, okay? So even for water bottles now, we have like this big surge of stainless steel water bottles. So that's one of the ways that we can have xenoestrogens and get those out of our lives. So don't heat up your plastic, switch to glass and stainless steel as much as possible. Second way is laundry. I hate saying this one because everyone's like, laundry soap. The biggest thing that will cause hormone disruption in your body. And when you think about it, where is laundry soap? Where's fabric softener? Like, how often is it actually touching us? And a lot of people think like, oh, well, it's just in the clothes I'm wearing in my daytime. But what do you wash your sheets in? What do you wash your comforter and your pillow, your blanket, your things that you shove right up in your face when you're not feeling good? Your whole body is constantly covered by the fragrances that are attached to laundry soap and fabric softener. Now, here's the thing. When you wash something and it comes out clean, it shouldn't have a fragrance, okay? If it has a fragrance, something else was adhered to it to create a fragrance, okay? Because if it's washed and it's clean, there should just simply be no smell, because clean means there's an absence of something, which should be dirt and filth, right? But if there's a heavy smell, that usually means that they've attached it. So fabric softeners, liquid fabric softeners, dryer sheets, and even laundry soaps, if you see the word fragrance in there, how they attach the fragrance is they use formaldehyde, which is a class 1 carcinogen, but they actually use formaldehyde to adhere fragrance to the actual product. That's part of the chemical mixture that they do. So anyhow, xenoestrogens are found in laundry soap everywhere. I learned about this, believe it or not, before I even started going down essential oils, because I was going to buy a progesterone cream before I even had kids. Or no, it was after I had SB, and my period came back and I was having horrible pain again. And my girlfriend said to me, hey, have you considered using progesterone therapy? Because I've heard progesterone therapy really helps for people with endometriosis and cramping. And I was like, okay, I'm willing to try it. She's like, well, you got to read the book before you start it. She's like, but go ahead and order it. I'll even buy the progesterone off of you if you end up deciding not to use it. I'm like, okay, fine. So I ordered it. I read this little manual that this doctor sent. It was actually from a doctor. And so I read the manual that the doctor sent, and he literally spent half the book talking about, if you don't change your laundry soap, send the product back to me, I'll pay the shipping. Like, he was that serious about the fact that it's pointless to do anything to change your hormones in your body if you're not going to do the one thing that's going to mess your hormones up the most, which is change your laundry soap. And so we're starting to see a huge movement in people nowadays that are actually starting to, in the natural community, where everyone's really finally getting it, and they're starting to change their laundry soap, which I'm really, really excited about. And so I actually have a homemade laundry soap recipe that I use on my front end washing machine. So it is for high efficiency. It can be used for top loaders as well. And then Young Living even sells a laundry soap, and now they found another way to extend that small bottle of laundry soap, and they've got a really cool pump now. So you like legit just go 1, 2, 3 pump, it's in your machine and it washes it, and you don't have to make anything. So for people who are like, I am not high maintenance, there are other options that are actually even more cost effective now. So all that to say that the number one thing you want to do is definitely watch your hormone disruptors. Sorry, I just got a message from from our Zoom company here. So hormone disruption is very, very important that we make sure we're staying on top of and taking that out of there, okay? So when we take out the things that are negatively affecting our hormones, what we need to do is we need to start actually supporting the cells of our body, our endocrine system. And there are oils to support those cells, okay? So we pulled out our pink marker because our pink marker pertains to a pink oil with a pink label, and that is called Progessence Plus. Okay, a lot of us say P plus when we're talking about this one. Me personally, I actually just pop the top of this thing like that. So you can just get that little piece right out of there and stick a roller fitment that Young Living sells like this, okay, right inside of here. And it's a roll-on, and I roll it in my armpit every single day. I chose my armpit. Other people may not do their armpit. I personally like putting it in my armpit because my girlfriend who had miscarriages, her doctor said put it in the armpit, and I thought, hey, we'll go that route. Plus it kind of acts as like a better smelling support in that area. So anyhow, Progessence Plus is made with wild yam, so it is a naturally derived progesterone. So it actually does have progesterone in it. It is a serum, okay, which is important to say because it's actually going to help support the endocrine system of the body, and it's going to do all kinds of amazing stuff to help your progesterone levels be where they should be. They're doing a lot more studies and finding that more and more women nowadays are actually progesterone deficient. And when you're progesterone deficient, that's going to create more moments of depression, more moments of low feelings, more moments of anxiety. And when you have all of that lowness pushing you down, progesterone, when you add that back into your life along with the essential oils that are in there as well, you're going to start changing those levels. I notice a huge difference when I forget to use progesterone. My husband notices a huge difference when I forget to use my progesterone. There are countless women I know that have that. Another really fun fact about Progessence Plus is that it's fabulous to use during pregnancy, after pregnancy, and especially after pregnancy. Because a lot of times we have this massive surge of estrogen that happens after giving birth because estrogen's highly at work for labor and delivery. And then what happens is, whoosh, baby blues, right? You're getting more and more of that happening. Well, we're finding that the increased use of progesterone after baby is actually really helping a lot of mamas climb out of that space. And it also actually helps with lactation support too. And so a lot of women who are choosing to go the route of nursing, it's really, really helpful for that. And so there's been a lot of concerns like, well, should I still continue doing that now that I've had the baby? So many women are doing it during, before, after, etc. It's wonderful. Another thing we find in our seasoned veterans that I absolutely love that we've gotten feedback from is that this has made them feel like a girl again. Okay, because all of us we were designed to have progesterone in our bodies. Like that was just the way our body was made. Okay, we were designed to have progesterone flowing through us. When a woman goes through menopause, guess what? C'est la vie, mon ami, right? It's gone. Our friend has left us. And so a lot of these women are absolutely loving the fact that they're using progesterone on a regular basis or just putting it on maybe every 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It makes them feel like a lady again because they have the natural ebb and wave of progesterone in their body. So progesterone, Progestins Plus, absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful oil. So let's talk about our estrogen, okay? Now, I know some people are like, well, if we've had estrogen dominance, do we want to be adding estrogen? Well, these oils are not estrogen. These oils are endocrine supporting oils, okay? The sclerescence this vitality oil will actually help support your endocrine system. It will help balance the production of estrogen in your body. Does that make sense when it's an endocrine supporting oil, okay? Both of these ladies are fabulous. I personally feel like sclerescence is a lot better in the springtime, okay? I've diffused it all the time in the springtime and it really helps me perk up. And feel really good and pull me up out of winter, okay? Lady Sclerol, she's my winter, spring, summer, or fall. All you gotta do is call, and she'll be there. She's really good oil. So those are fabulous oils for supporting the estrogen production in the body. And again, it's really important to get balance in the estrogen department because estrogen's very aggressive and you want to calm that girl down, okay? So having these oils that help balance all of this stuff is very, very important in getting it all going, okay? Now, another oil that is not pink or purple are two other oils that are really great. And I think, let's just do Dragon Time first since we're talking about the ladies first. And Dragon Time helps us to tame the dragon, as it were. So this is a really great oil. I personally, when I remember to use my oils, use this from pretty much right after I ovulate. So for me, around day 18 or 19, I'll start putting this on my inner ankles. And I put it on daily until I get my period, and then I use it throughout my period, and then I stop using it. And so I actually gave my bottle away, and so I was going to turn this one into a roll-on because Mama needs some Dragon Time because today was day 1. So anyhow, we're just gonna pop this Roller Fitness on. Did you guys see that? It just popped right off. That was so funny. The larger bottles, I found it's harder to do. So here's the trick. You put it on with the lid, and then ta-da, Roller Fitment is on there, okay? And so I actually will roll this on my inner ankle, and I can't remember which one's which because I think it's your left is the male testes, and I think that the right is actually the ovaries, and I can't remember which one's which, so I literally just put it on one ankle and rub them together because it's just easier than I don't know why. Some people are smart in some areas. That's just not mine. So anyhow, Dragon Time is fantastic for helping to support that Dragon Time. And I will tell you, when I remember to use this, it definitely helps minimize any pressure or any fullness that I would feel right about this time of the month for me, because again, I'm on day 1. And this is a cool thing, guys. And you do trial and error. I've been using oils, hormone supporting oils, for about a year and a half, 2 years now. And this is really cool. I do forget to use my oils because, I'm human too. And while I do love and teach this stuff, I'm so much better at telling other people what to do than I am at telling myself what to do, right? I mean, anybody else really good at that? Okay, thank you. I'm not alone there. But anyhow, the cool thing is that you don't become oil dependent, okay? Because I've had people say to me, like, well, am I going to only have to do this? And if I don't do this, am I going to be devastated? Like, is it going to be horrible? I mean, look at me. I totally forgot to use any oils for the last 2 weeks. I've had zero pain. I did have a lot more of a low feeling, and I did definitely struggle a lot more, but I also have depression too. So like I was diagnosed with depression. Having children actually unlocked that in me. And so what was postpartum depression has actually become actual depression. And so lowness for me sometimes can be triggered by hormone stuff. Sometimes it's not triggered by hormone stuff. So I can't always say that that's the reason why, but I can say this: my cycle, my period hit today, I feel pretty good. You know, I mean, I was low, but again, I've had a sick kid too. So anywho, last oil I'm going to talk about, and then we can start our Q&A, is EndoFlex. This is for everybody, male, female, the whole shebang, okay? EndoFlex is amazing, and you can put it on young ones too, okay? We're using this on SB because we think that her bedwetting is actually hormone related. So anyhow, EndoFlex is a really great oil. This comes in a Vitality, so because it comes in a Vitality, I can say that this is actually excellent at supporting the endocrine system, but it's really amazing. We put it on the adrenals on the back. And so that is really just an amazing oil as well. I want to just wrap up going over all of these products and stuff, and we're going to go ahead and do our Q&A here in a second. But if you guys have any other questions about this stuff, feel free to reach out to those of you who shared this this with you and message back, or just send me a message, okay?